The name of the parasite which we are going to discuss today is called as Trichuris trichura. Trichuris trichura. So Trichuris trichura is the name of the organism. Now, like this one is again, what's the meaning of Trichuris? By the way, the name of the meaning of Trichuris is basically hair-like. Okay, so hair-like tail. This is the meaning of Trichuris. So the name of the organism is Trichuris trichura. So the important thing about this one, again, it's intestinal nematode. Okay, and um, now nematode, and it affects um, around 795 million people worldwide. Okay, so you can say that shows like how common it is. It is also called as whipworm. Okay, why? Because of its shape. Now, if we will talk about the classification of this one, so Trichuris can be classified as a soil transmitted helminth. Okay, and its life cycle mandates, or it's important for its life cycle to go into embryonic development of its eggs or larvae in the soil. And uh, the most common, you can say, uh, worm which is found, or nematode which is found in the humans is Ascaris, and this is the second most common nematode. Second most common nematode after um, Ascaris. Okay, so that's the importance of this thing. And now, if I will talk about the distribution of this one, basically, this one is common in, or you can say more common in areas with tropical weather. Okay, so when I say tropical weather, so if you know, like the you can say Asia or sub Sahar Saharan Africa, okay, and Americas, of course, okay. So and Caribbeans, you can say, and the Caribbeans. So Caribbeans, this is like commonly found. So now this is also more common in poor rural communities or the areas simply which don't have proper sanitary facilities. Um, and remember, like when some area don't have proper sanitary facilities, so basically the food and the water, they get contaminated easily. Okay, so uh, basically a large number of individuals or the patients, who are infected by this one, uh, they have less than 20 worms, and basically they are asymptomatic. And the condition like only becomes symptomatic when there is too much burden of the infection, or you can say someone who have 200 plus worms in them. And children are most commonly affected by this condition. Okay, so the interesting thing about this one is, again, uh, uh, this one have a direct life cycle, you can say. There is no intermediate hosts required. It is only man, okay, which get infected, and which can spread the infections. So how it looks like, of course, I'm going to show you now. So remember, guys, there is no uh, host for this one. The direct life cycle, like simply it infect the man's, and so this is how it looks like, right? And that's why it is called as the whipworm, because there is a hair-like tail. See, here it is like thick, and then becomes very very thin, like a hair-like one. So this one is how it looks like, and uh, Again, I will show you. Um, this is Trichuris tucera, coiled posterior portion and very thin interior portion. And this one is like the specimen of the male and female whipworm. And these are the eggs of Trichuris trichera. Okay, so you can see like the adult worm is around 30 to 45 millimeter long, uh, whereas the female one is the larger one. So in this one, this is the female and this is the male. And the color of the worm is especially like simply like flesh colored. You can see it's flesh colored, and the shape looks like a whipworm. That's why it is called as whipworm. So basically, the interior 3/5 is basically you can see very thin. You can see over here, and the posterior 2/3 or 2/5 is thick and fleshy. So it looks like this is the handle of the whip, and this one is the hair of the whip. So uh, basically, uh, the interior portion contains the capillary esophagus, which is embedded in the mucosa, and the posterior part contains the intestines and the reproductive organs. And this one is like coiled. The posterior one is coiled. Okay. Uh, while whenever it is coiled, so remember it's a male. Okay. So this is a male because the female is like quite straight. Okay. The female is straight and the male is coiled. And this worm lifespan is around 5 to 10 years. And you can see like the egg as well. The egg have basically triple shell, 1 2 3, right? So uh, now the outer one is stained same like bile color or bile stained. And what happened is like there are mucus plug on both of the poles. Okay. And this is how the eggs looks like. So anyhow, the important parts is again like we are going to discuss the life cycle, and many things will become clear, how the things behave, how this thing is present. Uh, so now the important part over here to talk about is there is no reservoir, okay, and transmission simply occur when the contaminated soil, because it needs soil to, as I told you, that the eggs to you can say embryonate, or the development of the egg needs soil. So simply the transmission occur when the contaminated soil will contaminate your food, drink, or hands of the person, and they will ingest that. So, and that's the reason I told you that poor sanitary uh, conditions is a major risk factor for this condition. So, one of the reason that it is spread by the soil is uh, many patients who are infected by Trichuris trichura, they are also co-infected by Ascaris and hookworms, like which have this similar transmission modalities like this contaminated soil. So once anyone have contaminated hands, food, water, whatever with the soil, so when they ingest that, so there is a risk like they will be infected by this Trichuris trichura. They can be infected by Ascaris. They could be infected by other hookworms. So simply, this is the reason. Like many of the patients, they have co-infection. Uh, Again, like this is one more photo of the egg, as well as see, this one is coiled, male. This one is quite straight, so female. So you can see over here, we will talk about the life cycle of this condition. Okay, and again, like I'm showing you the same one, CDC. And if this one seems so boring, because this is quite you can say straightforward type of photograph, so I am including one more, right? to talk about the life cycle. Uh, okay, I don't know which one to I should make small and which one I should make big, but what I will be doing is like this way. So I'll be taking it in this way. Okay. Uh, Now, guys, the important point over here is what? Sorry. I don't know how to fix this thing, but I will try to fix it now. Cut and cut. Okay, now the things look better. So now about the life cycle, the adult female worms shed around 3,000 to 20,000 eggs per day. So this is the infective stage when someone will take in embryonated eggs, and this is the diagnostic stage when the eggs will be passed in the feces. Now, that's why I include this one because this one is so simple. Okay, so you can see over here the person have ingested, and the larva, okay, leave this thing, pass it to the cecum, and develops into the adult form. So this is the male, and this is the female. So the female, basically, they can shed around 3,000 to 20,000 eggs per day, which are passed in the stool. Okay. So now, when they are passed in the stool, so simply in the areas where sanitation is not good, so the eggs can pass in the stool. So when by chance this unembryonated eggs passes in the stool and it reaches to the soil, so in the soil the eggs develop into a two cell stage. See, this is one cell, this is two cells. Okay, the cell is going to transform into a two cell stage. So this is the advanced cleavage stage, and then they embryonate. Okay, see, this is like the advanced cleavage state, and then they embryonate. Okay, so when anyone is going to ingest these embryonated eggs, these are the basically infectious one. Okay, so the factors like high humidity and warm temperature, they speed up this process of embryonation or the development of the embryo. So this explains what I told you here. This is more common in tropical weather. So simply in the areas where there is high humidity and warm temperatures are there, what is going on, like simply the unembryonated eggs get the ideal weather or ideal conditions to become embryonated. Okay, so under these conditions or under these good conditions which the egg want, basically this embryonic development occurs within 15 to 30 days. Okay, and when the person they ingest this thing, of course the infection occurs. So now once you have ingested that, the eggs, they reach the small intestine and they hatch over there. So once it's in the intestine, they are the one in the small intestine. The eggs hatch and they release larva. Next is the same story which you were listing in the previous lecture. They penetrate the columnar epithelium, and what you can say, then there is an immature adult comes. Okay, and then these immature adults, they are carried to the large intestine. Now in the large intestine, they re-embeds, or they re-engulf, what you can say, they go inside the columnar epithelial cells, usually in the cecum. Cecum is this area, or the ascending colon. These are the most common places where these are found. So if the infection is too heavy, then maybe the infection can reach into this one, transverse colon as well. Okay, or if the infection is very very heavy, maybe the infection will reach rectum also. Okay, now The bad thing about this is what, like, simply whenever anyone have this one in the large intestine, so these worms, they create tunnels between the mouth of the crypts. Okay, so what happens, like, the anterior portion, which is the hair legs, or you can say this one. Okay, so they basically put this anterior portion in the mucosa, and the thicker one